Donald Trump and Xi Jinping's high-profile meeting has wrapped up in Busan, South Korea, and was described as a great success by the U.S. president. That face-to-face interaction between the leaders of the world's two largest economies lasting an hour and 40 minutes. In the aftermath, U.S. tariffs on China have been reduced by 10% to 47%. Beijing will also pause export controls on rare earth minerals and, according to the U.S. side, resume imports of soybeans from the United States. China's president said it was normal for the world's two largest economies to butt heads every now and then. Trump sounded optimistic as that meeting came to an end.
What are the major stumbling blocks that are left now to work through, and how soon do you think you could sign a trade deal with China?
Well, I think pretty soon. We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal, but all of the rare earth has been settled. That whole situation, that roadblock is gone now. There's no roadblock at all.
See eye to eye with each other. And it is normal for the two leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then.
We can now bring in our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, good to see you. Donald Trump rated his meeting with Xi Jinping a 12 on 10. That's a very good score. Who left this meeting with the upper hand? Because a bulk of the U.S. tariffs on China still remain.
It's all in the body language, Delano. If you look at the handshake between Xi Jinping and Donald Trump looks a little bit embarrassed or taken aback because Xi Jinping remains so stoical, so rigid, doesn't smile, doesn't really say very much, whereas Donald Trump is the outgoing, flamboyant businessman who wants the deals. He has to portray himself as the deal maker and the winner in all of this situation. Well, when push comes to shove, we're not even sure that the US has managed to get as much from China as it wants. Let's have a look at some of the elements that have been on the discussion table. First of all, rare earths, these minerals that are very important for the building of electric vehicles, for example, for weapons, for household items in the United States. They had led to restrictions from China over imports, which were affecting industry in the US. That's basically over Donald Trump's tariffs. He said that now those tariffs have been removed. There's a 1-year extendable deal on supplies of rare earths. So he said there are no more roadblocks. That is settled. Second point is fentanyl, which is this drug that is causing damage in the United States through the use of opioids. And the tariffs on that have been cut from 20 down to 10% because Donald Trump says that the Chinese are doing more to stamp out the illegal use of fentanyl and stop it from getting to the United States. Third one is on soybeans. Now, on this one, we don't really know what the agreement is because all Donald Trump has said, once again in this very vague way, is, well, there are going to be tremendous amounts of soybeans from the US exported into China, which is something that had almost come to an end at some point. And that was bad news for US farmers, many of whom had voted for Donald Trump and found that they were no longer able to sell their soybeans because of the tariffs to the Chinese market. So all of that is positive for the US, but as you were saying, no advance on the war in Ukraine over the sale of Russian oil to the Chinese. That subject was not brought up. And no advance either on Taiwan, which is something that many thought would be on the discussion table. Pressure from the Chinese on the Americans not to keep supporting the Chinese government, but no advance on that.
Now, Donald Trump has announced he will be visiting China in April. Is that a sign that these two sides will continue to iron out their differences?
I think what we're seeing here, Delano, is that for once Donald Trump sees he is face-to-face with someone who's not going to budge. You know, up until now, everywhere that he's gone, because of these tariffs, people have been trying to
bend the knee.
Donald Trump. Yeah, bring him on board, say how great he is and what a nice guy he is, in the hope that he's going to lower these tariffs. This is not at all.
Nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, not like the Japanese proposing for the Nobel Peace Prize. This is not at all what is happening in China. Xi Jinping wants to make China totally independent of the United States. He wants to make China a country that can look after itself, that it doesn't need the US. He wants to be the world's superpower. And the US here is lacking behind. So the cards, to quote Donald Trump in many of his other interviews with people, the cards are in the hands of the Chinese and not in the hands of Donald Trump. That's why Donald Trump is going back there again in April to try to organise further deals with the Chinese, I think particularly on AI, on selling of chips to the Chinese, well, made in China, which can be used in Silicon Valley. That's also something that NVIDIA, the US company, has been requesting. So all of these elements will be brought up, I think, along with Ukraine, along with Taiwan, in that next meeting between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. But we've certainly seen someone who is not going to budge, and you can tell that from the body language, as I was saying before, in the way that Xi Jinping reacts in public, not showing any emotion at all, completely the opposite of what we see always from Donald Trump.
Yeah.